something really interesting about Torch is that open. Good job, guys. Resin Cat.
Hello and welcome all to vTGaming's first impression of Rift, the new fantasy-based MMO. My name is Byronyk, and I manage the MMO division of vTGaming. My friend here, Katsune, is our CTO. Say hi for us, Kat.
What's up?
For those of you who don't know, vTGaming is a professional esports organization that hosts StarCraft, World of Warcraft, and Dota divisions. Now that that's out of the way, let's kick this into gear. So, what you're looking at right now is, I believe, Kat, was this your first Rift invasion?
This is one of the many beta events that have been going on the last month or two.
Okay. And for the viewers, what Rifts, well, I mean, this game's named Rift for a reason. Rifts are basically random events during the game where these big portals or voids from another dimension spawn out of nowhere. And evil demons who want to eat your soul come out of. Basically what you're looking at is, at least on one part of the UI, and what makes this game really unique with these world events is the public group option. When you start getting near one of these rifts, an option at the top allows you to join a public group. And as you can see, Cat just died to demons because he wasn't watching behind him. God, I think what you die how many times in this video?
I died like 4.
Anyways.
It was really annoying. I was like the only healer in the group, so I kept pulling aggro off everybody.
So anyways, as you can see at the top of your screen, you have a little special UI meant for rifts, and the little button at the top left, or at the bottom left, is for collecting the loot that you get, because the loot isn't a typical loot that you see in other MMOs that just pops up on your screen. It's individual bases. And a few seconds ago you saw stage completed. Rifts are set up in stages where they face you against smaller monsters to medium monsters, and finally you get the boss type character. And as you can see, this looks to be like a major invasion, since there's what, 4 groups, about 16, about 20 people there.
There are groups scattered amongst the zone.
Yeah.
This is just one of many.
Did you notice during the beta, I think they need to do some work on their public group invitation system, because a lot of the time the groups that you join are never merged, so you can sometimes have half a raid and then another small group, and it just makes competition for some of the mobs a little bit more difficult. Did you ever have that problem?
I agree. I do think that there could be some improvement on that system. I mean, I went up to this group. Of course, having multiple, rifts open in, the zone, like this event, for instance, you could have one at the top or the north end of the zone and one at the south end. So, having 2 groups isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they could work on something that's more closely, or related locally to the players that are surrounded by you.
So, why don't you go ahead, Kat, and explain to us what soul trees you picked and how the whole process of creating your character was for the beta.
Well, it was really exciting, actually. I mean, I've been playing MMOs for several years now, but I started off with a cleric class. I really wanted to feel out how healing played out in this game. I started off with a warden soul and branched out to the sentinel and the purifier. I really wanted to get the overall feeling of a pure healer in the game. I wanted to see how it panned out, and I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. It was a lot of fun.
Well, at least there is something to say about the soul trees. There are a huge amount of them, and no surprise that it's hard to remember. Compared to, oh, by the way, real quick, for those of you who don't like comparing things to WoW, apology in advance, some of this will be compared to WoW. Anyways, each soul tree, there's 4 of them, typical archetypes. There's mage, cleric, rogue, and warrior. Each of them has a total, what was it, 6 to 8 different soul trees?
It's about 8 each.
Okay, and basically, each of these are not technically a talent tree. They're a whole class onto their own, which provide unique game style, different play styles. So you got some summoner classes that have pets. You've got I believe it's Chloromancer, who uses its spells to gain health while doing damage. Quite Shadow Priest-esque, I suppose. And each of these are unique. In this case, for the cleric playstyle, the majority of them are healing trees, while some of them do damage, like I believe the Kabbalist and the Inquisitor, I think it was.
Yes, correct. Druid actually does damage as well.
Oh, nice. Do they have a feral options with the druids, or is it solely healing?
Well, it's not really based, around, so to speak, the druids of Azeroth. It's you can summon other creatures like fairies and other whatnot to aid you in your quest. They do different. Sometimes your pets could heal players, but mostly it's a damage tree, from what I realize.
I see. Okay. Well, actually, as you can see here, you've been looking at your talents back, and it was Sentinel, Purifier, and Warden. Do you have any? Do you want to explain what you were doing there with your talents?
Well, I was debating whether I wanted to go with more the damage side or pure healing. I went with more healing because damage didn't seem to be that much of an issue. Killing mobs by myself, and I was able to last a lot longer. I actually, sadly, I didn't get to record it. I also did a little minor PvP, but I did a duel with someone, and I totally wiped the floor with them. They didn't stand a chance, because most classes can't, do the kind of healing I could.
Sure. I never had a chance to actually do any dueling. I did see some duels. However, if you were playing Guardian, just to note for the audience, there are 2 different factions in this game. One's the Guardian and one's the Defiant. Basically, they're your iconic factions in this game. The main differences between them, at least for the lore aspect, is the Defiant are technology-based. They believe that they shouldn't wait for the help of the gods that are in this game, and instead use the power of themselves to gain power. And the Guardians are very theological. The Defiant are the heretics, and so on and so forth. Typical kind of clash between religion and technology. So, I mean, if you want to get into those themes later, be my guest. Personally, I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Anyways,
don't blame me there.
And I'm looking at some of the recordings that you did, and in my personal experience in this game, the graphics are really good. There's a lot of polish in this game as compared to a lot of other games, especially during beta. I mean, what did you think about that when you got into the deeper into
I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, the only thing that I could complain about really were the kind of the corny graphics that, like that invaders defeated, or the level up thing. Besides that, I really like the look and feel of the game, not just the gameplay graphics, but also the UI. I think the game has, it takes the unique dynamic gameplay from World of Warcraft, but, with the graphics of Aeon, so to speak.
Yeah, one of the things that some people were complaining about, and mind you, I can't say this for 100%, that some of the game's resource management was less than it could have been. A lot of people were complaining about their computers not being able to handle this game, which, I mean, isn't surprising. A lot of these people came from World of Warcraft, and you don't need a top-end computer to run this kind of game.
Exactly.
MMOs, but then they come to this game, and the graphics are so much better. I mean, they're not 6 to 7 years old. And that's just how it is. And actually, there's a whole bunch of chat, at least on my server, about upgrading graphics cards and all this kind of stuff, and of course the average troll giving stupid advice to people. But besides that, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. World of Warcraft. I mean, the whole idea around it was it's for the masses, and the majority does not have the funds available to purchase a more high-end system.
They do have an option in the video settings. Besides just turning down your settings, period, is just one button to lower the rendering quality of the game. And I tested it out myself because, I mean, my computer's okay, my graphics card could use an upgrade, as you know. There was an obvious change. It was kind of disappointing to see the graphics go down that much. But I mean, that's what you get if you want a smoother gameplay. For me, I turned it back off because I wanted to see what the graphics were really like. And I mean, just a few FPS drop, whatever. It still looked great. Definitely a much more polished than other games that you usually see in beta phases.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think besides that, my only other complaint graphically was the spell detail. I think maybe it was just because I didn't get past level 13, but I think they could have done a little bit more. Maybe when you get higher up, the spells become greater. But I'm a fan of the spell detail. I think they could have added more to it.
I suppose. I mean, when you compare it to some other games, and not just World of Warcraft, between spell details, and mind you, I spent most of my time playing the Rogue and Warrior archetypes, is that they are really, they have a stylized realism in it, and it's not as cartoony as other games can be. But I do think that they did a decent job. The only thing I think that could be better are the traps. Some of the traps that you set down as the rogue class, either in the Saboteur or the Marksman/Ranger trees, they're very small. Even on my settings, which are mildly high, just the amount of detail on the ground is very, it's hard to see, basically, and it could be better. So I agree on that 100%. What about your UI? How customizable was it? Did you need to download any add-ons or anything?
No, that's one of my favorite things about this. Besides the soul trees and how awesome that is, I really loved how I was able to customize the UI straight from the game. I didn't have to download any extra mods. As you can see, my unit frames are in the center right there with my casting bar.
I hate where your casting bar is. I can't help it.
I really enjoy it. Maybe it's just me, but
yeah.
There's a setting when you use the main menu, you can just move anything on there, and they snap together. It's really, really cool, really handy.
Yeah, I clicked on that option to check it out, and I didn't move anything around, but because I was more interested in playing the game. But I definitely could see the. I mean, with this kind of game, you don't need Bartender. You don't need anything to change up your UI too much. You could. I mean, the raid frames for healing are reminiscent of vanilla WoW and just dragging out your bars during raids before any of the other major add-ons came around. But definitely, the UI is something to be commended in this game, for sure. And something that unfortunately this video wasn't able to get was PvP. The PvP in this game at the moment is great, but take it when I say that it's imbalanced in many ways. Some classes definitely shine more than others. Specifically, and this one's been rolling around the forums for quite some time, is the Saboteur. Just a class where you throw some charges up on a player after 5 or 6 globals and hit him for a ton of damage. I mean, this is beta. You can't really expect much more than that. But definitely the war zones, which are their versions of battlegrounds, are great PvP sections. You gain prestige as you go up, which gives you different PvP titles. They have a whole set of PvP weapons and whatnot in the main cities. This is you're playing Defiant, right? What's their main city?
Correct.
Because it's what's their main city? I know it's Sanctum, but anyways, yeah. That being said,
I mean, besides that, overall, I think this is a game to keep your eye on. VT definitely is. We are highly anticipating the results of how PvP ends up working out. As Byro said, and, it's obviously in balance at the moment. Beta's beta. But we're looking forward to seeing how it grows over the next couple months, especially after release.
yeah, and release, by the way, for anybody who's interested in buying this game, the pre-order is still available on their main website. If you pre-order both normal and collector's edition, you get the Head Start program, which allows you to start playing this month on the 24th. If you do not, full retail launch, it will be on March 1st. So if you're really interested into that, go ahead. Last note, the last beta event for Rift is going to be this 15th, coming up here in a few days. It's the open beta, so any of you can join. Don't need a key. That being said, this is vTGaming's First Impression with Byronyk and Katsune. Thanks for watching.